So I am joined by Kiri. I remember that. Kiri Piri. And we are at the Funhouse Comedy Club in Nottingham at Barton's. So we just thought it would be a good idea to interview you and get to know you more.
In a car park.
Yes, it does look very seedy right now in a car park with a flashlight, but it's all good. So how long have you been a stand-up comic or comedian for?
I started properly in about 2010, at the start of 2010, so I've been regularly gigging for coming up to 4 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've quite some time then. So
yeah, so I'm still very new in the grander scheme of things.
Yes.
Because there's people who've been going, like 25 years, and I think it takes 10 years to be very good. So I'm still new, but I am I'm not just like completely green around the gills.
Okay.
Is that the right phrase?
Oh,
not completely green.
I've never heard that phrase before.
I think green around the gills means sick or unwell. So as soon as I was into it, I was like, that's not what I meant at all. I mean, I'm not terribly inexperienced, but I'm not hey, I'm an old pro. Not yet, anyway.
So do you write all of your own material?
Yes, you've got to. It's the golden rule of stand-up. It's like a gentleman's agreement in stand-up since probably like the 80s and alternative comedy. You always write your own jokes, and people is a big if there's people who don't write their own jokes, they will get pulled up on it and shouted at by the comedy community.
So it's a big no-no.
Yeah, big no-no. Joke thieves are like the scum of the comedy circuit. They're like, yeah, the people who cross the picket line. They're no good.
So where do you come up with your material?
Well, my set's quite like family centric, so I talk a lot about, because I'm originally from Wales, I talk a lot about that, being from Wales and my family, and a lot about sort of my boyfriend, just about my life really. So whatever if something funny happens, I'll write it down and make a note of it, and then it will get trotted out on stage, much to my family's delight. So yeah.
So I'm guessing your notepad is like your best friend then.
Absolutely.
Goes everywhere with you.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So I'm guessing, obviously, in the ideal comic world, you're always going to have a good gig that always goes fantastic. But what do you do if there's not a laugh? Or I know that's a bit hard.
Do you know what? It depends, because it does sometimes there's so much you can't control for, and you always try and have the best gig you can. But occasionally, if it's not the right room or just not your night, sometimes. Right. So if I don't get a laugh, if my friends are there, I will laugh if I'm dying, because that's hilarious that they're seeing me do badly, and I'll just kind of roll with it. But I don't know. I always think like. I never get stroppy with the audience, because it's my fault, not theirs, and I'll just try and work as hard as I can to get them back around again. But I mean, if it's only a little thing and it doesn't get a laugh, just get on to the next thing as quickly as I can. Like, oh God, what's the next funny thing?
So how do you deal with hecklers then? The other extreme.
Yeah, so this it's really hard, you have to balance it, because sometimes if they heckle you when you come straight on, it's quite a nice room, and you slam them too hard, the whole room goes, oh, we don't like her, that was a bit mean, it was you need to ascertain whether the heckle's like coming from a nice place where they're joining in, or whether they're trying to make you look like an idiot. And if they're trying to make you look like an idiot, just go both barrels at them.
So you kind of have to analyse the situation then,
because you can say something and have the audience have a great gig, someone will shout something out and you'll go in a bit too hard, and they'll go, oh, and you'll lose the room because of it. So it's a really hard thing to gauge. But do you know what? Generally, I'm gonna get heckled loads now, aren't I? But generally, you don't get heckled very much.
No.
And it's good spirited. Someone will go, oh, we've done that, or I've been to Wales on holiday. Like, they'll join in with fun things.
And I suppose because they're buying tickets to see you, then and they kind of want to enjoy the experience with you, don't they? So I'm guessing you hardly ever get that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who go, you can tell they go to comedy to go and sit there and try and be the funniest person. They're like frustrated comics, so they'll heckle for the whole night, and usually the compere will sort them out, so it's not an issue. But occasionally you get them when they're really, really drunk and they don't know when they've been beat, so you'll like slam them and the room's like, yeah, and they'll be like, yeah, well, and you're like, don't start again, come on, know when you're beaten. But yeah, that doesn't happen very often. So
okay, so what inspired you to become a comic?
I think I'd always done performing and I'd always done writing, and it didn't really like occur to me to put them together until I was like, I don't know, 21, 22.
Okay.
And then I just like showing off. So I was like, well, this is
Fair
perfect. So yeah, I get to show off for a living, which is quite nice.
Yeah, not many people can say that, can
No,
they?
no, not many people probably want to say that, but you know, that's.
Okay, this is putting you on the spot a little bit. What is the funniest knock-knock joke that you know?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh no,
I
gosh, yeah,
do
this is hard.
apologise.
Do you know, I do loads of like stand up with kids and things like that, so I should know knock knock jokes. But do you know, whenever anyone says, because you get this a lot, like, oh, tell us a joke, taxi drivers love, oh, tell us a joke. The ones that come into my head are all really rude or really like sexist. So I was like, oh god, and as soon as you said knock, you're like, this is putting you on the spot. I was like, oh god, and then all these horrible jokes keep running through my head. So I can't think of a knock knock joke. I don't know.
Well, we can smoothly move on to my second question if you want, and that is, what's the best joke you've written so far, or like said or come up with?
See, there's two. It's like in two different camps, because like the joke that I'm most proud of, like, you know, that like, oh, that's just very clever.
You kind of want to TM it,
yeah,
copyright. Yeah. I did that.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean to say it goes very well in everywhere. And then there's like the jokes that work the best. So I don't know. I don't specialise. I can again only my really rude jokes are going through my head now. So I've got a nice one that I like about that's like about blood diamonds that I'm very proud of.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Or do I have to tell it?
No, not if you want to keep it. Just a little bit mystery.
Yeah, okay, there you go. In fact, you can find it. I've just done the BBC New Comedy Awards, so you can find a clip of it online. So yeah, you can check out my blood diamonds joke.
Okay,
and see what you think. Tweet me and let me know if you think it's rubbish or not.
We'll definitely do that. Okay, so at school, would you say you were like the class clown / the funny girl?
See, this is interesting, because my first joke I'll open on tonight talks about that. And do you know what? I was definitely a show-off and bossy and loud, but I don't know if I was like the funny one. But you know what? When you do comedy, you find that those funny ones are the ones who, when they get up and do it, aren't very funny. You know, like the funny guys in the pub aren't necessarily stand-ups.
I suppose it's two different things there, isn't it?
Yeah, there's pub funny and there's stage funny. So I'd like to think that I'm stage funny. But maybe I'm just pub funny. Who knows?
Well, we'll find out tonight, won't we?
I'm just going to hear, if it's going really badly, I'm going to hear a voice from the dark just going, pub funny. That's what's happening there.
Okay, this is a bit of a weird question. Not too weird, don't worry.
Okay.
But do you ever have days where you just don't feel like being funny?
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing, because you're a comic, you've got that pressure to be funny all the time. Do you ever feel like, I don't really fancy being funny today?
There are definitely gigs where you get there and you go, you know, they're usually the ones that go, I can't be bothered with this tonight, or I've got to drive 3 hours to tell jokes to strangers, I can't be bothered, it's a Sunday, I want to just let my roast dinner go down. And then you'll get there and they're like, oh, can't be bothered. And you'll go on stage and those are the best gigs. You're like, oh, this is why I do it, I love it. So you find that comedy sort of picks you up when you're feeling a bit like that.
I suppose that's the same with any job, really, because you have this, like, the size that you really like of it, and at the same time you have the size of your job where you're like, oh, really can't be doing with it. So I suppose it's the same, isn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it is definitely like any other job, except we have to work less than everyone else. 20 minutes every day, that's fine by me.
Okay, so how did your first ever gig go?
It was quite a big one, actually. It was first ever gig was there's a club in Manchester called the Comedy Store. It's quite big. There's one in London as well, and they run a thing called King Gong, and it's like the first Sunday of the month, I think it is, and loads of new acts go up, and there's 3 cards in the audience, and you've got to try and get to